Hello everyone, very good evening. Today is December 28th. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings, where I recap all the trades from the day, my guidance in community, from Twitter, or any of my swing ideas from the day, and I teach and we try to learn something every day from how our trades went, our red trades, our green trades. So guys, second last trading day of the week of the year today. Decent day. Didn't expect it to be so good, but there were some big trades like Tesla short, nice trades on China sector this morning. Bitcoin sector was weak, and some nice individual scalps on semis. So before I start, anybody new here? So I wake up every day 1 hour before the market open. I go through all the news sources. I prepare a watch list for my community, and I do prepare levels for my community, which I'll show you. So anyways, this was our morning summary. We go through a more first thing we do is we go through our morning summary. We look at what's happening around the world. We look at Apple. So today there were key factors driving the market were Apple. There was some news on Tesla, PENN, and there was some news coming out of China. So we just look at the geopolitical futures, high level, what's happening in the investing world, what economic data is coming up, and all that. So basically getting ready for the trading day. So after that, I go through various news sources. You look at the pre-market movers. I go through at least 3 or 4 news sources so that I do not miss any mover for the day, anything that's going to be moving because of the pre-market news. So we go through a big list. You can see here Microsoft, Apple, Mara, CANG, and then there's a bunch of news and reasons why they are gapping up, gapping down. I share then and compile my watch list, and I also list something important things that we are going to focus on. Today our focus was on Chinese stocks, which I will talk in a bit, and then this was our watch list ready for today. Watch list Tesla was on the top of the watch list. We had Microsoft, Baba, BIDU, FUTU. You can clearly see those three big names on my watch list for China, and we had PENN, which had a news, Mara, and Coin. Then we also have our market plays, which are our plays we play every day, irrespective of any news or not. And then we have our market indicators. And this was our bigger list of Chinese stocks because China was on our focus. And then I also create levels for my community. These are the levels, support pivots, resistance pivots, and how to play them. What is an A plus setup, what is an A minus setup. So we discuss all that, and we are ready for the day for a repeatable setups that we trade in the community. So that's a little summary of how we start the day, how we do the things. And then before the market opens, I give a high level idea, a plan, what we're going to do. Like for Baidu, I had a plan that, long bias versus 116.50 and all that. And then traders are ready. Some just take those levels. They're ready to execute. And as the day starts, we kick off our trades, and we go from there. So anyways, let's start with our first trade of the day, guys. So today, before I go into individual names, importance of understanding the pre-market news. So today, the big news was out of China. China's central bank has committed to further enhancing financial aid for businesses and critical sectors. The aim is to bolster and broaden employment, foster a stable and robust real estate market, and ensure a continued stability of yuan. So there was this very bullish news out of China. So Chinese stocks were gapping up. That's the very reason I had all the Chinese names on my list, right? That's the reason we could have a good trades out of Baidu. Baba was okay. I personally didn't trade the Baba one. I was in Baidu and FUTU. FUTU was good one, but that's why we maintain our China watch list, right? Somebody was trading JD. That was a big move at open. Amateur move. After that, it failed. So a lot of China names pushed right at open. Neo was good at open and kept pushing after that. PDD was only a swipe at open, amateur move and faded. So that's why we keep eyes on these news movers. So for today, the important thing I'm trying to teach you here is if you wake up early and you see I posted this information at 6 a.m., half an hour before the market open, I said China names are on watch, and that was a good time to prepare yourself for a trading for the China stocks right at open, because a lot of these trades are opening trades. They're market open trades. You decide what you want to do. When I go to example of BIDU, I will talk about it. So but the point is you have to be ready on these plays. So anyways, so just wanted to point out that. Now let's look at our main Chinese stock winners that worked out for me. So let's start. So beauty of the community is lot of traders are trading on their own. That's what I'm trying to encourage. I'm trying to make people self-reliant, trading their own. So FUTU was a similar one. While I was busy with some other trades at open, and because I'm trading as well at the same time, I'm providing the guidance. So I talked about what FUTU was on my number 3 watch list, and I said it's my favorite. I like the name, and that's what the people were trading. FUTU. Scalp was trading FUTU, and at that 53.5 flag level, and then FUTU essentially the same teachings. The FUTU broke out of pre-market high right at open from 54. It pushed to 55.50, right? And then finally when it breaks the 512 level, that's when you exit. And for the FUTU trade, so you see that how it's holding higher lows and 512 EMA Clouds. That is important. So that is important at a 10-minute time frame to hold that EMA Cloud, which means it's flagging, right? So you see RGV at 10 a.m. he was talking about my teachings, that how this is flagging. You can clearly see the flag. So this is the important thing you want to see. Like, look at his chart, beautiful chart, it's flagging. So that's what I'm trying to teach everyone, and I'm very proud of the execution of people in the community. Also, of course, I was on a voice. I was talking about FUTU, that we can push higher. Talked enough about FUTU, so that's why people were trading FUTU. And the FUTU, essentially, if you traded the pre-market highs from 54 level, you got a $1.50 move here, and you exited when the candles closed under 512 EMA Clouds. So you do not hold once 512 EMA Clouds break down. You just get out, no questions asked. This is where you get out. So FUTU was a decent one. Most of my commentary on FUTU was on voice, so you don't see much here. So let's look at our next Chinese play. So main Chinese one that I was trading as today was BIDU. So I had a plan for BIDU in the pre-market. So what was the plan on BIDU for the pre-market? So the pre-market plan was simple. The risk was 1650 or 116, 116.50 or 116, whatever is based upon the process. So I had a price alert on BIDU. Let's see if I can show you here. So you can see that price alert that went right at open, because you have to be ready, right? So that's why I gave the pre-market prep, that what we are going to do. So BIDU, that's a pre-market, and then right away then we see that BIDU breaks out of this 117.50 pre-market breakout. So you start a starter here. The risk level I gave you. You keep that risk even before I say something. The trader should be in. But anyways, then I started right away when it pushed over here, right? You see that when it pushed right away, I started. I did a market order at the open starter size, and then that's when it start to move, and that's when you move your stops up to 117. So that's what I said, move your stops up 117. So from that time, let's see how BIDU did. So BIDU hit, let's look at 2-minute time frame. 1 minute will not be that clarity. Let's see. So BIDU, you start, as soon as you start the BIDU, then you hold it for the next leg into 10 a.m. whatever our rules are. Our first profit taking is into 10 a.m. So now if wherever you add, you cannot risk 116.50. That's very wider stop. So your risk should be 117. That's why I said move the stops 117. And then it was flagging. Then it started to push, 119. So even if you were not ready, let's say you just waited on me and you just did not add. Even then, if you waited on me at 118, it pushed nicely to 190. So my target was, if we break out of 119, my next target was 121. So I held on because I was expecting that breakout into 10 a.m. right? So then what happens is it pulls back. So let's see that. So it pulls back. So now I see some traders panicking, but there's entirely no reason to panic because stock will do what it has to do. We just follow our rules. So it did not break out. That's fine. We did not take any profit. Then it pulls back to 512 EMA Clouds, right? So it's pulling back. I didn't like that action, of course. I didn't like that action. It's a very bearish action, but it was still in the trend. And then it held the 512 EMA Cloud. Right? This 118 level was important. I said if it can't hold 118, then that's a problem. But it held 118. It reclaimed. This is the time where you can add more to your position. Risk is the same. You can risk right here 512 EMA Clouds and then let it work. So then it bounces back, pushes again to 180.70, holds, pushes again to 118.90. This is the time I took the profits because it's the third time it was testing 119s. Look at what I'm saying here. Locking at high of the day, moving stops to break even, right? Because nice and green need a 119 break. And then I locked most here, and then finally it breaks the 512, and that's the time to exit. Not really like, it was not really fully. Of course, if you entered right at open, you had a good trade, better trade than, even I was a little late. But even otherwise, it was little patience play. You let it work. You don't panic. You do not oversize. You do not add. You do not add at near to 10 a.m. because 10 a.m. there's no flag here, right? You will get, if you add, you can understand that it can pull back. This pullback is normal. Some of them hold this pullback and some don't. BIDU held it. JD did not. JD failed, right? Bear flags. So you have to be cautious of this amateur move, and then this is the trend move. Amateur move, trend move. So you have to be cautious of that. So that's some nice teaching on BIDU. But overall, green trade, but few people were panicking on BIDU. Some new traders who don't know my teaching, they were like, oh, it's dumping. But this is not how it works. You need to be patient. And if you see me, I was not panicking anywhere. I was still said, it's okay, hold, and my guidance on voice because of the risk management. All right, let's look at the next one. So Microsoft was, it was a break-even trade for me, but I will call it a loser because, some traders added a little later and I had a bullish bias. So my idea was bullish. So it's a loser trade in the community. So what happened was Microsoft had some price target increase. So I said, watch the pullbacks. And we also wanted SPY to break out, right? If I look at SPY, it was all the range bound, same story. I had SPY to break out, but the SPY was kind of not stuck as well. And then that is fine. It pushed, dipped back, right? I said, watch pullbacks. We got the pullbacks right here in this area. Then it again pushed, and then it was green for a moment and we were looking good. But then it started to break the 512 EMA Clouds. And that's when I said, out, break even, because I don't like this section, you see 950. So that's why I was out. And it was good I was out, because if you see by 10 a.m., just 10 minutes after I said that, it hit 374. I would have lost more money if I did not stop out here. So that's why Microsoft was a losing trade. It happens. And I could have re-entered Microsoft. I did not. I was not focused on that when it reclaimed this EMA Clouds. But you see, it's just a 44% ATR day, very low volume, very low. Our vol was just 50%, and Microsoft will give us a good trade, if not today. So just was patient with these holidays and stuff. So we should be fine. All right. So let's look at next one. So let's look at our QQQ short this morning. So QQQ was basically a gap fill short, guys. So the short on QQQ was, this was the gap from yesterday. What is a gap? Gap is the price difference between yesterday's close and today's open. So it was a gap. I was on a voice. I said it's heavy, 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 and heavy when I means heavy, that I means it's gonna fade down, and that's what exactly happened. I said stay short. It was rejecting clouds. You see my comments here, and I did say that it's heavier than SPY, and you can short it and short scalp it. And if you see by 10 a.m., let's see. Okay, so 10 the chart. So let's do 1 2 3 10. Yeah. So by 10 a.m. it was a big fade, and as you always know, at 10 a.m. there is always a pivot. My 10 a.m. rules, if you do not know, go study my 10 a.m. rules. So at 10 a.m. there's always a pivot, and that's what it did. And then that's we covered the short here. It was a nice little voice guidance on QQQ short today. So IWM was nothing, it was just a little scalp. I mean, when it turned bullish over 204, that's why when I said that it's turning bullish at that was around 950, and you could scalp it, use the stops of this 204. When I say 204 versus, that means 204. And then it pushed from, I mean, it was not a huge trade, it pushed towards 205, 205.10, and that's when I said just take profits close to 205, and then it breaks 534.50, then you get completely out. So nothing special about IWM. I just want to show this trade where it 512 EMA Clouds turned bullish and 34.50 turned bullish, and it rejected from this resistance area from yesterday. You can see, right? So it's rejecting this area, and then you take profits at 205 and just get out. So nothing special there. I mean, the holiday week, there's not much. Whatever you get is more than enough. So guys, AMD. So what was my pivot level on AMD? Let's look at that. So my pivot level on AMD was 146.88. Support level was 140.46. And when the pivot breaks, it's a long idea, right? So let's look what I was saying on AMD, and I said AMD is trying to break out. So it's trying to break out of this opening range, and your risk is 146.30. So then when you risk 146.30, then you trade that breakout, and risk is little wider, but you still have to consider the EMA Clouds. So if you add at 147.30, 146.30 is your risk. So basically that's your $1 risk. And then as it starts to move up, you keep moving your stops up. I said move stops to 147, then move stops to 147.80, and then my target was 150, by the way, on this breakout, and we hit 150.41. You hold as long as 512 EMA holds. You get out when this 512 EMA breaks down. So if you see, I show you the AMD price alert. You can see all of those right here, target met on AMD. So what this is frankly was not expected, but when you see something breaking out, showing a relative strength, then other names, it is not bad to take that trade. AMD was a good risk, $1 risk. So if you risked $1, right, even if you held till 149, 150, you made more than $2. So this one risk to 2-3 rewards, and the calls went 50-60%. So that crazy strength on AMD. I'm sure it's needs a little pullback though. 150 is a big psychological level. So NVIDIA, also the guidance was on the voice call I was talking about. Again, NVIDIA was the same setup as same setup as what we call IWM, turning bullish over the clouds, right? So NVIDIA was turning bullish over the clouds, and that's what I talked about. And then folks were trading NVIDIA. Let's look at it. So NVIDIA, right? So NVIDIA, let's look at it. Yeah. So NVIDIA was going turning the bullish. So that's where you enter. So your risk should be 495, right? That's what I was saying on the voice. and then as it starts to push, you start to move your stops up. If scalping, you move your stops to 496, otherwise you keep your stops a little wider. Then at 1052, let's say yeah, so let's look at it. Okay, so let's see here what happens. So then lock here at 1052. I told everybody to lock here, leave 1/4, and then it breaks down, and then I cut the 1/4. I personally cut the 1/4, but then like a clockwork, you saw the 3450 bounce back again. So I was in this first scalp, but you can easily see there are opportunities to scalp this, and then end of the day it did not hold it, and even if you stopped out here, you were still profitable from the morning ads or even this ads. So understand this system, right? The Ripster cloud system. So this 3450 is a line in the sand. So this was, I would call it a B plus setup, not like a full size setup, just as do not go crazy size, just a small size. Understand grading your trades. So I'm gonna just talk about buying here. So what was my buying level? So my support pivot was 265. And what is the plan? If the support breaks under EMA Clouds, that's a short idea, right? So let's look at BA. And I did mention BA on voice. I think I mentioned on voice. Let's look at BA. So there. So BA was heavy all day. Boeing, I was talking about in the voice. So once 260.50, you saw my pivot that I gave you. This is a short. You risk here almost 260.50, 260, 80 cents risk, and then you short it. Then it's a bear flagging. It's still heavy, still heavy, still heavy, still heavy, still heavy. So that was the bear flag on Boeing, and then Boeing's heavy. Even from that bear flag went to 257. If you look at 1 hour chart, guys, see Boeing what it is doing. It's under the bearish clouds on 1 hour chart, and then it's big fade under 50 EMA. Even daily was kind of bearish today. So just a recap on Boeing, not my personal trade, but folks did good in the community. Let's look at another trade which was on our watch list, but I did not trade it. But just want to still recap. There's a reason I have things on watch list. If you go to my news that I post in the morning, every trade has a news, and this PENN was a nice trade on the pre-market breakout. You long on the pre-market breakout, you use the stops at low of these candles, and all day it really did. It was good. All day it held the relative strength. I talked about the relative strength at 10 a.m. and you see even after 10 a.m. it kept pushing from 226 to 2730 almost right there. So yeah, so the thing is, there are so many opportunities, so many trades. You just need to take it. Yes, I should have been top of 10. I personally missed it, but I'm glad that some of the people in community traded it from the watch list. Relative strength, repeatable setup, good one. So guys, crypto was taking a breather today. There was nothing special in the coin. It ended up with a bullish candle anyways. The gap down and bullish candle, it's just non-stop. Even BTC USD was weak. It's non-stop. I personally did not touch it because the problem for me was this up down up down up down, and some traders did good. They did a B minus bounce. It went over the clouds, rejected the clouds again, faded 2 points, then again went over the clouds, and then again pushed, and then held the clouds, and now closed bullish. Very impressive. So I think if it breaks 188 here, and then I think we're going to 200. So we'll watch tomorrow. It's a nice breakout setup. If Bitcoin is strong tomorrow, we'll long it. Alright guys, that's enough for today, and see you guys tomorrow. We have extended our Christmas promo till end of the year, so if you want to be part of our community, feel free to join. Thank you everyone. See you tomorrow. Last recap of the year. Take care. Bye bye.